when you're late to collecting stuff like SHFiguarts, sometimes you find something that you're interested in and the price is way too high. And that is the case with the Bulma motorcycle from her Capsule Corp thing. But the problem with that being $200 or more, and then maybe coming with the figures, the bike just came out. I don't even know it. It came out a while ago, bike alone, and it was expensive. And when I got my last Bulma, the one I reviewed, this one here, I specifically wanted to get a bike for her. And I thought, well, the Capsule Corp kind of makes the most sense. And plus, as much as I love Dragon Ball Z, and I get into things like this, I'm gonna wanna put more stuff together. But with the price of that bike being so high, I had to say, you know what? Let's go to the third party. That's right, today we're gonna compare this original Bulma. Why do you wear your name on your shirt? I'm gonna start doing that. Just says Jonathan on everything I wear. But we have this authentic, real version, and then we have this third-party version, which is inside this. So the Black Hole Toys, that's pretty sweet. Black holes are cool, space is cool. I should know, I did a space channel for like 2 years. Nobody watched it. We're gonna look at a third-party option for this thing, and it came in at $95, but it came with the figure. So yeah, I picked up an extra one really just for you all, okay? So we can compare, and we'll find out maybe the other one is garbage, and it's a good thing that I picked up this one. Here's a look at a third-party company. This isn't a knockoff. This is just somebody else out there. Like, for those of you that are familiar, Ramen Toys is a company that is making some incredible stuff, like really, really top-notch stuff. But they don't always have the license for things. They're not knockoffs. Knockoffs, which do happen with SHFiguarts, usually have lack of paint. They're real cheap looking, and you don't really know that until you get a hold of one and then compare them. I think that this third party is going to be great, despite the overly pixelized image on the front of this box. That is, they screwed up. Obviously, they didn't pay anybody to do box art. They just found an internet image and they used it, and then it still has all these artifacts in there. Like, come on. But this thing's like, it was like $95 shipped. So that's substantially cheaper than the original, and I don't know what the original price is, but 200 plus to get it now? No thanks. So this is officially Motorcycle Girl, because we don't want to get in trouble with stuff, despite the fact that it's obviously, right, you can't deny what that is. Just by calling it Motorcycle Girl, it doesn't change anything. Sides of the box, there's nothing. Top and bottom are the same. This gradient color, and then another image that is kind of actually squished as well. So they did it again. They just found an internet image. It's got artifacts going on, and then they used fresh fonts, which I don't know. What's that say? Let's find out together. Okay. That took a while for that last one to load, but my God, that's too funny. Okay. Classic Dragon Ball style, but they made a play on it with the Black Hole Toys. Okay, and then you get this little bit of English here. Ages 15 and up. Oh my God. Okay, let's open this $95 item to see if it's worth it. And in a world of SHFiguarts, it's $95 really isn't that bad. Oop, there we go. Nothing inside, no sleeves or anything, but it is encased in plastic, just like everything else that you buy from anybody else. So this is, you know, the experience is high level. And at first glance, this stuff looks really good. And just so everybody knows, I got this off of 5K Toys. Okay, it's a website where you can get a lot of, we'll just say, third-party stuff. And I think they have stuff that's licensed because it's like original designs, but sometimes things like this, there would be like a big bar covering it up and you don't know what it is on the website. So you kind of have to look up other websites that have the images of these things to see what you're getting, and then you buy from these people kind of blindly. But here we go. We've got a Bulma. We've got faceplates. The paint seems to be pretty good. I don't see anything that's really a problem as of right now. You get everything, I believe, is the same over here. So let's take all this out, and then we'll take that out and take a look. We'll take, and take. I was gonna say the same words. Oh, Lord have mercy. So that's simple. Okay, we're gonna just put that in there. Okay, so this is an example of one of those times that I'd like to have the instructions, and since this is a third party, I guess they're just deciding not to do that. And now with SHFiguarts, generally you get with SHFiguarts, you generally get an instruction sheet, and we'll see that with the actual Bulma here. And I really wish that I had the original one to compare for you, but I think if you're watching this, maybe you don't have the original one, or you just want to know, or you do, and you just want to know if this one is as good. And should you have paid $200 used? Probably not. So I'm not really sure what these things are going to do. Probably hold up this thing, but there's 3 pegs and that, and an extra seat. I guess I guess if you don't want Goku, Kid Goku, you just have an empty seat since he pegs in. Okay, all right, we're figuring it out. We don't need instructions, apparently. We're smarter than that, and that keeps coming off. So let's just open up this other Bulma, I guess, and then compare the 2 of them. And an example of what those instructions look like, so something like this where it tells you that all of these things can be swapped out and replaced, which is really sweet. It's sweet like cool, not sweet like, oh, that's really sweet. But maybe it is. Maybe it's both. All right, so let's start with the extra, oh no, so many things are going everywhere. Start with these extra face plates, and I don't want to get these things screwed up just in case they are very similar. All right, so starting with the kind of wide-eyed expression, the third party is on the left and the original is on the right. There's a little bit of like muck on that. I don't know if it'll come off. It's a little dirty, but otherwise that's incredibly similar. I guess you could say almost identical. The eyebrows are maybe a little higher on this third party one. You get into real deep into the details, like the lines, the outlines are thicker on the third party. And the paint is not necessarily as smooth in the mouth, but this is, I mean, I would pass that off as like, that's good enough, you know what I mean? Now, the other face, the just kind of standard default face, wow, that's great. It really comes down to the mouth, I think, is like the only real difference you could probably call out. The application of the paint is a little smoother on the actual one, but this is just, you know, looking at extreme details. So this is very impressive. Third party has done an excellent job. I think her forehead is bigger on the original than on the knockoff too. Like wider maybe? All right, now the full figure details. So there's a little bit difference that you can see by the hair bow. This one has more shadows going on. I think that's just like a washed paint. But I gotta tell you, looking at these things side by side, that's kind of hard to tell what the real one is. I mean, the most obvious thing, if you set these things in the counter or in this video, you probably have already seen it, is that the plastic for her dress is shinier on the third party versus the official SHFiguarts. But this is like, I am really impressed with how close these things are to being the exact same item. Just slight differences, but if you needed a Bulma, if you didn't already have her, then just get the one with the bike if you wanted the bike, because it's really meeting the expectations I think that you would have for this figure. One of the other details though is going to be that the gun in the holster here is just painted brown versus having this kind of dark chromy black finish. But otherwise, my goodness. And I wonder if that's consistently the same issue here on this one every single time. But details, it's stupid. The plastic is harder on this one as well. Like this is not nearly as soft to bend, and then this one, yeah, it's very pliable. That's spectacular. If I were you, don't do what I did and get an extra one of these, because it already comes with one. And I already got a Bulma. This wasn't really about her. It was really about the bike and a little Kid Goku. Come on, look at that guy. I have no idea what the original one looks like, but it looks fantastic to me. This is great. His little pouch, his bow staff, his neck is yellow, which is a little weird. Oh, man. It's just so funny. It's such a tiny little Goku, too. And then he just pegs into this seat back here. Look at him. Ready to have a good time. The Dragon Ball radar, I think, is the exact same thing. They're so tiny. The real one is obviously much cleaner on the lines. The one on the left looks like it's actually done by hand. It's like sloppy looking. The one on the real one looks good. The Dragon Ball itself, let's see. All right, the official SHFiguarts on the right and the third party on the left. They're both 2 stars, so at least they stayed consistent with that. It's basically the same thing. The gun that comes with her, let's see. So hard. It's so hard to do this. With the, like, to lift my hand. So close. Yep, basically the same thing. There's the clip is a little bit, the magazine, whatever you call it, and the one on the right is a little bit longer, but it's like, who cares? We don't need to go over all the extra little bits and pieces, but we'll just look here at the little capsule as well. The one that comes in the hand. So the one, the original one is obviously a little cleaner. It doesn't have that extra paint going on in that peg piece, but man, this is fantastic. So go get that one. Now the weird thing is, if you're gonna have your original real Bulma and you put this other skirt on for the bike, this is the shinier plastic than this one, obviously, so it's a little strange maybe. I don't know, but maybe once it's under the bike it's fine. At the end of the day, you wouldn't necessarily need that one, right? Like, it's not worth having the authentic one when you have this. It's so close. All right, so the little stand does have the Capsule Corp logo on it, which is nice. And let's get rid of you, little Goku. Let's look at this bike. Okay, so we got some great details going on here for the gauges and stuff. There's no image there, so I'm wondering what the real one looks like. And of course, that means I'll be scouring the internet for some real reviews or pictures of the authentic one and trying to compare that. But this looks like a great item, honestly. It's got rubber tires. They're not hard plastic, which is nice. And so a little tip for hobby enthusiasts or whatever, if you want to get these things to kind of look real and worn, just take a little bit of sandpaper to them, and it gives them that kind of grayed look, and instead of looking like brand new fresh tires, which is a cool move, okay? You want to be cool? You want your friends to come over and see your Capsule Corp bike and go, whoa, is that thing real? The tires look like they've been on the real streets. And you can be like, fooled you, bro. Just use sandpaper. And that's pretty cool. But I do like this. That looks like you could put a little LED in there or light up and look awesome. This is such a nice little bike. I'm glad that I got it, okay? So in case you were wondering, yeah, the answer's yeah. I'm glad I got it. Jeez, leave me alone. So it has a little kickstand as well. And if so, when you're actually in play mode and you're going, you can actually kick that up, and instead of it getting in the way. So again, you want to look cool for your friends. But it's got a little bit of turn action. The details are nice. I like the buttons. I like all of this. It's so nice. And then like we knew earlier, you can remove that panel, have this one on the back, and there you go. So now it doesn't look weird. You just have a normal seat. But, I mean, of course you want a little Goku back there, right? You got him. Why wouldn't you use him? Look at this thing. So it's it looks fine. It's not clear. It's not cloudy or anything. It's not a perfect clear plastic, but it's probably just as good as the original, I think, right? That's probably the same number, because why would they change that? But there you go. It looks sweet, man. I want a bike like that. A real one. I'd ride it. I'd ride a bike. I'd be a motorcycle boy. So let's figure out the stand. There's a little hole here, but I don't think anything goes in there. All right, so the way I'm understanding this is that you have like 3 layout options. This is kind of weird. So if you just want like a basic stand and you want it to just sit there and not and it to look like it's, you know, on the kickstand without falling over, you just get this basic one. It just goes right in the center. And then if you want a little bit of lift on it or an angle on it, then you use this guy. I don't know which way's front and which way's back. And it seems best that this one is like if you want to add an angle, like a tilt, like that. Which is cool, I guess. And that one, if you wanted to do like a wheelie, or obviously you could flip it around and have it doing like a nosedive. Okay. I guess we did it. Whatever. You get some cool options to pop this thing on a stand and have it kind of in action versus just being sitting there, which is great. I love when things have a little bit more action instead of just being a little vanilla. We ain't got time to be vanilla, okay? All right, so we did the old swap-a-reno on the bottom half of Bulma here so that we can get her on the bike, but you also got to swap out those hands to give her some, you know, handlebar hands. Duh. It's probably totally necessary, right? Because it's flat here on the backside. Yeah, I guess it's totally necessary for this bike. So even if you have the original one, you're gonna have to swap out. If you are a fan of this show, you like what's going on, obviously subscribe. That's free. But if you want to support the show, there's tons of stuff. I got shirts, I've got art prints that I've done, and I can ship them to you. Or unless you buy a shirt, then someone else will ship it. But thank you so much for supporting me however you do. All right, bye. I guess I probably should have talked about like articulation stuff. It still feels pretty good, but I think this is like where you're getting into the cheaper parts of the figure, because there's definitely some noticeable differences, like in the joints. Like look at how that thing is like spreading, about to pop apart. And I'm guessing that the original bike probably comes with the skirt and the extra hands to go for the authentic one. That was hard to say, my words come out. But yeah, so this isn't necessarily a pose and have a good time figure. What does that mean? This isn't a highly the third-party one doesn't have the free-flowing articulation that you get with SHFiguarts in general. That is a brand that I really highly respect and love for their articulation, at least with my experience so far. They've been fantastic. All right, there we go. So yeah, if you want to recreate this image from the box, you can do it and feel comfortable about it, because it's not the message that we've seen on the back of the box, okay? And it's not as naughty as Dragon Ball historically was. Oh my goodness. So this is, it's good. It's good. It's safe, okay? And you can get the feet where they would be shifting gears or pressing the brake. And this is great. I love it. You also could technically use this other hand. You could probably have, I'm gonna assume you can get that one on there. So if you want a finger to kind of look like it's reaching for the brake or the clutch, you could do that. But all this stuff is, it's really exceptional, honestly, for a third party to come into the game. And like I said, the bike alone, fantastic. It's pricey, yes. So if you're used to lower priced stuff, like I generally am, this is kind of a harder place to get into, because SHFiguarts is expensive, but this is substantially cheaper by, we're gonna say, half price, because 200 versus 100, right? I can math, okay? This is the worst part about the whole thing, though, is how easily this comes off, but of course, once it's on the shelf, you're gonna be fine, okay? So don't even get into the consideration in the comments. Look at, you can even, like, yeah, the arms can work. This is great. I love it. And the little Goku, it's so fun. It's just fun, okay? And sometimes this is why we buy stuff, to have a little fun, all right? So what do you think? Do you have the original one? Would you get this one? I don't know. What other questions should I ask you? Or should you ask me? I don't know. Ask away. The noticeable differences between the real thing and the third party. The real one is obviously better. It's better in every way. The articulation is great. Like, these things you can just move around and you feel like it's gonna work just fine. You can remove the hands from the pegs and you don't feel like they're gonna break. Those, the arms and everything, kind of felt like they were gonna break. So once you really start digging into articulation and posing and stuff, then you notice a huge difference. But right out of the box, that one is great. If you don't have a Bulma and she's just gonna go on the bike, 95 bucks, do it all day, okay? That's it. But if you already have this one, then yeah, I would say, like, throw that thing in the garbage and put the good one on there. Because this one is certainly better. I mean, it's crazy. When I did the review of Vegeta and then the other Bulma, the articulation is always just crazy, because you can just, like, you can do any poses you want, and you can find, like, this is a great line if you're trying to figure out how to do poses, okay? So, like, that's a huge part of my videos, is well, a huge part? I don't know. So that's how I end it. But I get a lot of comments of people saying, you know, how do you do the articulate, or I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of comments of people talking about the posing and wanting to know like different tips and tricks and stuff. But I think a brand like this, where you get this like incredible like range, just get whatever you want, right? There's plenty of stuff. There's a super expensive Chun-Li now. So if you like Street Fighter, there's Batman, Superman, all those figures. There's tons of stuff from SHFiguarts. I'd highly recommend getting one and checking it out just to see how crazy good the articulation is. I love it. But the next SHFiguarts review is either going to be Kid Krillin or Goku from Superhero movie. Dragon Ball Z's superhero. But I also have the Saiyan Raised on Earth version on its way here, and I'd like to compare the two because the colors are very different. And I just want a good classic Goku with black hair. Anyway. So now let's get into the posing segment. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.